The story you're about to hear takes place when I was in 8th grade. And insofar as 8th grade is a complex, multifaceted time to be a young person, I feel I should do a bit of context setting regarding what sort of 8th grader I was. There are those girls who in 8th grade start to become really cool and mature. They begin devoting a lot of time to pursuits like putting on makeup and flirting with boys and menstruating. I would say that was not my scene in the 8th grade. I was a bit of a nerd. I guess most formally I was what you would call a late bloomer. But I was really fucking confident. Like, as an 8th grader, I possessed the sort of confidence that is popular among white men across the life course. And yeah, I wasn't into putting on makeup or flirting with boys. I'm still not, for that matter. But like, I had my own hobbies. I took supplemental science classes. I got regular allergy shots. And perhaps most importantly to me, I was really invested in the school band. I don't mean to like intimidate anybody here, but I was first chair trumpet in Sligo Middle School Concert Band A. Yeah. So profound was my devotion to my craft. I didn't just play trumpet during the school day. I also took private trumpet lessons in the afternoons at the University of Maryland. And so one day I was at the University of Maryland for my lessons, and I noticed a bunch of flyers that had gone up advertising a student play festival. So as the flyers explained, there were a group of students on campus hoping to hone their skills as actors and directors, and they were seeking original plays to stage. Now, presumably, given that this was a university theater group advertising in the context of a university arts building, they were seeking play submissions from other university students. But as an 8th grader, I can't say that deterred me at all. I mean, I was first chair trumpet. Like, why wouldn't I be amazing at playwriting as well? So I went home that afternoon, I sat down at the old family desktop computer, and I was like, I guess I should just churn out a theatrical masterwork. I figured I kind of knew everything there was to know about playwriting, right? Like, I put the characters' names in bold, I put the stage directions in italics. What else was there? In terms of a plot, I decided to go the route of the Law & Order Special Victims Unit scriptwriting team. I just took stuff that was actually going on in real life, and then I slapped on a more absurdist ending. And fortunately, I was in 8th grade, so there was no shortage of high drama that surrounded me. Notably, there was this guy in my grade who was a little weird. His name was Greg, and he had been going out with my friend Lena for quite some time. But rather abruptly that spring, he and Lena had ended things, and he was quite suddenly going out with another girl. So it was like a straight-up scandal. Here's what I did. I changed Greg's name to Gorgo. Yeah, I mean, that's a name. I changed Lena's name to Luna, and boom, I had myself a play. So I don't assume that like a whole lot of other plays were submitted to this theater festival. Like, presumably all of the actual college students were off getting drunk or something. But a few weeks later, I received word that my play had been selected. This university theater group, they were gonna put on my play. And I got an invitation to come to a meet and greet with all of the other playwrights and directors so we could like forge artistic bonds. So I had my mom drive me to the University of Maryland. And then I was like a huge bitch to her and made her park in a far outlying parking lot and was like, no, you cannot get out of the car. Because I couldn't have her blowing my cover. I wanted everyone to assume I was a college kid as I strode across campus in my Garfield t-shirt. I walked into this meeting completely self-assured. Like, I genuinely thought I would hit it off with my fellow playwrights. But I would say the situation was actually pretty immediately wildly uncomfortable. Everybody else there was like so cool and artsy and post-pubescent. It was enough to make your training bra itch. And so we were asked to sit down in a circle, and everybody was supposed to sort of explain their play to the group. And these other playwrights, they are using words like catharsis and subtext and leitmotif. And it comes to my turn, and I have nothing to say. And so I'm like, oh, there's a guy, and he likes one girl, but then he likes another girl. So my leitmotif is love triangles. Fortunately, the festival organizer sort of swoops in to my rescue, and he's like, "Oh yes, Tori's play is deeply farcical." So, like, I'm glad that he had a fancy word he could use to describe my play, but also, I'm in 8th grade, so I gotta laugh. That guy just said fartsicle. Anyway, I didn't get to attend any of the rehearsals for my play or anything like that. I just had to wait for the festival itself. And in the meantime, I let everyone I knew know about this, right? Like, I wanted everyone I knew to be there for my turn as a star. So, on the night of the festival, I rolled up to the university with a straight-up entourage. Of course, it was an 8th grade style entourage, so it was like my entourage being toted by their parents in their parents' minivans with all of their younger siblings being dragged along as well. I have no idea what it must have been like for the college students staging this festival to walk into a theater space much like this one and see that fully half of their seats were occupied by children and their middle-aged chaperones. This is perhaps not quite the audience demographics they'd been going for, especially given that the first play of the evening was Seven, a series of 7 monologues exploring each of the 7 deadly sins. I wasn't all that impressed by 7 at first, right? I'm just twiddling my thumbs. I'm waiting for my play to start. That is, of course, until the 7 monologue on lust began. A very attractive young woman takes to the stage, slowly makes her way to the microphone, and casually drops the line, "I had my first orgasm holding my pussy up against the jets of water in a public swimming pool." So to rehash some points made earlier, I was something of a late bloomer. As an 8th grader, I can't say I knew a whole lot about sexual climax. Certainly this was novel territory for my then 9-year-old brother. But boy, was our knowledge base about to expand. We went on to learn new vocabulary like fellatio. We also learned what it looks like for our very kind, very straight-laced parents to realize they have made a huge mistake. So I'm sitting there with my entire family and all of my friends and all my friends' deeply uncomfortable parents. As this monologue just goes on and on, this young woman starts telling us about how she had to chase that feeling masturbating in the bathtub, and going on to pursue a series of increasingly shocking sexual encounters. The moral of the story for all of us was that lust will drive a person towards what's known in 8th grade sex ed as risky decisions. After what felt like a lifetime, lust came to its X-rated conclusion, and it was time for my play to begin. I'll be honest with all of you, my play was incredibly short and mostly incoherent, but in that it made absolutely no mention of clitoral stimulation, I think my posse found it to be a far more comfortable viewing experience. My student director had opted to rewrite the end of my play, which, quite frankly, felt like an act of violence. I am an artist, after all. But, overall, it was a good experience. Or it was fine. I mean, it was also just, really embarrassing. And not just because I'd heard someone talk about masturbation while sitting next to my mom. It was really clear that my play was super bad. I'd gone into this thinking I'd come off as really cool and mature, and it just revealed what a juvenile dork I was. I had imagined that my life would change dramatically once I was a staged playwright, and initially it did. I took great pleasure in being interviewed by my town's local newspaper that penned an article on me entitled, "Young Playwright Also Acts." Older, that is. But the media attention died down pretty shortly thereafter. I was still kind of uncool, I was still kind of a nerd, but boy, did I have a whole new respect for the power of the jets in a public swimming pool.
You're